All right. So, hello. Welcome to this class. So, I'm Andrew Fong, and
I'm Cole.
uh, he is our recent TA as of like 10 minutes ago. So, this is going to be super fun. Um, we're here to teach you Fusion 360. We're going to have a nice, fun 5 weeks. We're going to teach you everything from the basics to some other advanced stuff. I really look forward to teaching all of you. A little bit about me. I'm a junior in mechanical engineering. I'm from Palo Alto, California. A lot of Bay kids here, maybe. So yeah, I've been CADing for about 6 years. Really enjoy it. Excited to teach you all. I really love 3D printing as well. And a fun fact about me is I'm a barista, but I don't drink coffee. Um, this is just a little portfolio of some of the things I've done. It's a lot of fun stuff. I like robotics, so making robots is something I do in my free time sometimes. Um, our other TA is at a thermo exam today, so this is him. His name's Aaron. He's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, he's not here. I wish him good luck. Um, yeah.
I'm Cole. I'm a freshman right now. I just finished this class actually. I took it the first half of the semester, but I have 3 years prior CAD experience. Fun fact is that I'm SCUBA licensed and I'm a competitive ski racer.
Um, so yeah, we're gonna just first start by downloading Fusion because this usually takes a while. So if you go, I'm guessing you're all in the Discord by now. So if you go into the Discord, um, if you go under resources, there's a downloader that you can click on. So um, there's one for Mac and one for Windows. So you just want to go ahead on and download them, and then you can like extract and then download it. Yeah. If you haven't done that already, please do that, and then we can get that started. Just because it'll take a while, and then I'm just going to be talking a little bit more about this class and other cool things. Um, so yeah, when you open the installer, it should do something like this, and it'll just take a while. So I'm just gonna start rambling. If anyone has issues, just like raise your hand, and me or Cole can help you out. Um, but yeah, um, yeah. So a little bit about this class and this software. So if you don't know, Fusion 360 is a CAD tool or a computer-aided design. It allows you to create things on your computer, and you can use those to design really cool things. We like this. We like Fusion because it's really intuitive and user-friendly, especially when you're first learning how to CAD. And it's also cloud-based. So there's some things that you might need a more powerful computer on if you weren't using Fusion, but because it's cloud-based, it allows you to CAD on, you know, not super beefy machines. Like I CAD on my laptop all the time, which is really nice. And it also allows for collaboration. So if you're in like some of these clubs that have like design aspects, they might have a Fusion 360, and it almost works like a Google Drive where everybody can like share different parts and edit them, which is really nice. Um, the other thing you should be doing right now is creating a Autodesk account. So this will allow you to get into Fusion 360. So if you go into resources again, there's a link there. So if you just click on it, it should take you to like the registration portal. Oh wow, that's weird. Yeah, make sure you use your Purdue email for this. If you don't, then they might think that you're not a student, and Fusion's free for students. So please use your Purdue email, or else you're gonna run into a bunch of issues, and they're like not gonna let you use it and stuff. But yeah, sometimes even if you use your Purdue email, like stuff will go wrong, and it will still think you're not a student. So if that happens to you, it's not your fault. We can help you sort those things out. But yeah, it's just kind of weird. Um, just by a show of hands, who has already installed Fusion before coming to this class? All right, this is awesome. Okay, well, you're ahead. Today is a lot of Fusion installing, so don't worry too much. Um, and don't worry if you haven't installed it yet, because we're doing it now. Uh, yeah. Is anyone having problems installing Fusion? Oh, it should be in the account. Also, I would prefer if you don't email me because I might miss it. But if you send it to me on Discord, it's a lot easier for me to find. Um, yeah. Uh, if you haven't done this already, uh, please fill out the attendance as well, because that makes sure that you're here. It's on the Discord as well. I do all of this electronically. It just makes sure that you're here because there's a lot of people on the wait list, and when people stop showing up, then we can open up a spot for um, people who do want to take this class. Yeah. Um, yeah. Is anyone having trouble making? Oh yeah. What's up? Yeah. So I think I talked to you already, but basically how this class works is attendance or unexcused absences are not allowed. But if you tell me where you're gonna be before you come here, or before you don't come here, then that's fine. Because the main reason I have attendance is just to make sure you're still engaged with the class. Because this class, you'll see over the weeks, it's not that hard, right? Even for like people who don't have that experience, we're gonna be doing most of the assignments in class. So I'm gonna help you run through these assignments pretty good. Um, so yeah, the main reason people don't pass this class is they stop showing up and they stop turning in things. So if you like fill out the absence form and just tell me that you're like gonna watch this stuff after class, and that just confirms with me that you're still taking it, because then I can, you know, I don't want to drop people, but if people stop doing things, I can open up space for other people on the wait. So yeah. Um, but yeah, I guess I'm gonna check this. Okay, it's still installing. Slides. So yeah, once you've made your Fusion account and Fusion installs, it'll ask you to sign in. But while we're waiting for the installer to install, I'm just gonna talk a little bit more about this class. So I'm from ASME, but this is a Milestones course. So a lot of you have signed up through Milestones. Some of you are here because of ASME. But it's a collaboration between Purdue Milestones and ASME, which is the American Society of Mechanical Engineers. But Milestones offers a bunch of different workshops like this class. There's like an Arduino class and a couple other really cool things. And it supplements coursework. And when you complete the course, which I hope you do, you get a certificate of completion. So it's like this nice digital thing that you can put on your resume or LinkedIn. You can like brag about it to people so they know that you know how to CAD. Um, just like a forewarning, the certification or the process to get the certificates takes a really long time. And yeah, it's kind of it's really lengthy because like yesterday my summer students got their certificates. So don't freak out if you don't get your certificate right away. It just kind of takes a while. And yeah, I'm sorry about that, but that's just kind of how it is. But yeah, um, in this course, we want you to understand the importance of CAD, and we're going to teach you the necessary tools to, create your own designs, and then also rendering your designs and 3D printing, which is pretty cool. Um, so yeah, I said I was from ASME. This is a little bit information about ASME. We here at ASME, we like to prepare our members for success in the industry. So we do a lot of like internship stuff, like helping you like flush out your resume, all that cool stuff. But we also do cool things like this. So I get to teach this class, but we also have other cool things. We have numerous design teams where we do a lot of cool stuff. So small projects is one of my favorites because I was on there before. This year they're making a drone, or they're making drones in like groups, which is pretty cool. A couple semesters ago, we were doing like battle bots. I don't know if any of you know what that is, but it's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of different design teams for a bunch of different interests. If you're interested, um, I think there's a QR code somewhere, but we do a lot of cool stuff. I won't go into all of it, but yeah, professional development, like the resume stuff, is pretty cool. And we partnered with a bunch of companies. So if you're interested, feel free to join the Slack. I'm pretty sure that that QR code works. If not, yeah, it's fine. Oh, I didn't change the dates. Oops, that's fine. Yeah, this is a 5-week course. It doesn't start on October 3rd because that was last session. But yeah, we're going to be meeting here every Tuesday from 5:30 to 7:30. Um, that's a little bit more about like the things that we're going to be doing. I don't know. You kind of get the point. It's a lot of talking today. I didn't have this slide. Anyways, these are like the 5 modules that we're going to be working on. I have finished module 4. I forgot to update the slides. But yeah, a lot.
We should say after class, not before class. So
Does it say after?
you have
Oh, and
8
this is one
days
thing.
to do each assignment.
Yeah. So yeah, just I'm pretty lenient with like turning in stuff, but just make sure you turn things in, or else I think you're not participating in the class. This is a pass-fail course, so you just need above a 70 to pass, and then you'll get the certificate. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions about this? About like grading and stuff? No? Okay. Awesome. Um, your final project will just be creating your own design with 5 different design features, and then you're going to be rendering it, and yeah, you also have the option of printing it later, but I can get into that in the next few weeks. But yeah, this is going to be your final project. You'll see more of it later. Here's some past design projects, which is pretty cool. A lot of people put in a lot of time into their final projects and they look really awesome. I encourage you to do so, but this final project is surprisingly easy. You'll see that like in the next few weeks. But yeah, you can. This class is like very much a get in what you get out class. So if you want to do the bare minimum and pass, you can do that. But if you want to have fun and be creative, you can also do that. Cole did some pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Okay, cool. This is we're on to like the meat of it. Has everyone like installed Fusion? Is everyone good with that? No issues at all? Okay, no worries. Um, yeah, usually we have some problems with something that will make it kind of on the so we got we started. Okay. When mine expires, I have to uninstall this. So that would for me. If that makes sense to be a problem, I just need that. Yeah. This can be the stuff on the back. Oh yeah. So for those we are just installing it, it'll ask you to create a screen. Um, we just create a screen and this kind of it's basically just like yeah. And later, if you like slot up certain work, you'll make that other class. Yeah. Mine's probably still strong, honestly. Okay, mine worked, yay. Okay, while we wait for the installers to go, I'm just going to be talking more about what CAD is. I'm guessing a lot of you, wait, raise your hand if you already have CAD experience. It's okay if you don't. Okay, awesome. Um, Again, this is like a beginner level class, so if you already know how to CAD, you're ahead. And if you don't know, that is totally okay, because we're going to be starting from the beginning. But yeah, CAD. You're using computer. Computer does math for you. It's pretty great. You get to design stuff. Um, and yeah, you can make single parts and multiple parts. So if you saw in like the portfolio, there was like a bunch of different parts put together. It's pretty cool. Um, yeah, CAD is pretty old, made in 1959. And you see this dude is on like this massive computer, but now CAD is super cool and your computers are very powerful, so you can do it on your laptops, which is pretty cool. I think you can even CAD on your iPad for some things now. Um, yeah. We're just teaching you the basics. So, we're gonna be doing a lot of 2D and like 3D stuff. But there's a bunch of other things you can do with Fusion, including like finite element analysis. So it's just like structural analysis on your parts. You can like set the material and see what will break. You can do like aerodynamic testing and stuff like that. And you can also do like CAM if you know what that is. But it's like programming like manufacturing machines to make your parts. Um, yeah, Fusion can do all these things. It's pretty great. Yeah, Fusion isn't the only CAD software out there, but we're teaching it because it's cloud-based, so you don't need a super powerful computer, and it's like really intuitive. I personally like SolidWorks a lot. If you know what that is, that's my CAD package of choice. But Fusion is great because yeah, it's nice and intuitive. If you've taken like the CGT class, you probably learned NX, which is similar to Fusion in some ways, but different in like interface. If you ever try a different CAD package, you'll see that they all kind of do the same thing, but like the buttons are in different places. But yeah, assignment one. Okay, is everyone all downloaded and stuff? Yes, no, not yet. Okay. Um, Also, sorry if I'm like kind of spastic today because I didn't sleep very much. um, yeah. Does anyone have any like general questions about this course? Because I know I kind of went like fast through the introduction. No? Okay. Um, oh yeah, you just it's just like your own personal workspace. I will. Okay, so if your fusion isn't like working, that's okay. You could just kind of follow along, and when it hopefully works, you can do it later. Um, I see some of you have already started, but I'm just gonna walk you through these first few assignments. Again, how this class is structured is I'm gonna be doing a lot of demos. So, like most of the assignments that you have for this class are gonna be done here. Um, so most people finish everything in class, and if you don't, that's okay. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be walking you through, so don't worry too much if you don't know what you're doing yet. Yeah. Um, the first assignment here is just creating these fun little building blocks and then coloring them. So when you go into Fusion, you'll kind of be greeted with a workspace like this. Um, Over on the left, you have like this data panel, which will allow you to, like find your different files like Google Drive. It'll also allow you to like join different teams. So you see here, like I'm in a couple different teams. We do different things, and it's nice and organized. I'm just gonna hide this for now. I'm just gonna click these 9 little squares. Um, but yeah, this big blank space is kind of like your canvas, right? You're gonna be making all your parts and assemblies in here. I'm gonna turn on the grid just because I like how it looks. If you want to, you can just click down here on the bottom and then click on layout grid, and then it'll make this nice grid for you. Over here on the top in document settings, you can see like the units that you're CADing in. For the most part, I don't really care which units you use, but this is just for your reference. A lot of these measurements are going to be really arbitrary. So we want you to be like creative and have the creative freedom for this class. So I think there's like only one or two assignments that I'm like gonna be strict on like dimensions. As long as what you make looks like what I assigned, then you're good. But yeah, if you ever want to change units, it's up here. Um, and yeah, I guess for navigation wise, you are working in like a 3D space on your computer, so you can kind of like fly around, and it's pretty cool. If you don't have a mouse, the one thing that you can use is the view cube on the top right. So if you just like hold on it and like drag it around, it'll like spin it around for you. You can like zoom in and out by scrolling. You can also pan by middle clicking. So if you have a mouse and it has the middle click function, you can hold it down and it'll pan for you. Um, and then yeah, orbiting on the mouse. So just like the view cube up here, it's spinning it around. You can hold shift and middle click, and then you can orbit. For me, I changed the settings, but I won't talk about that now. Um, yeah, I highly recommend you get a mouse if you don't have one already. It just makes CADing a lot more like fun, or yeah, it's less annoying if that makes sense. Um, yeah. Um, so yeah, on the top left or on the top bar, you just have like these tabs, almost like Google Chrome or anything. It'll allow you to create like different projects and stuff like that. Right now, I only have one. You know, yeah, that's just kind of the general layout of Fusion. All your tools are going to be on this top bar. A lot of the time, we're going to be working in this top left area just for your reference. But yeah, I'm just going to start and get right into it. Um, Basically, how a lot of these parts will work is you're going to be creating a 2D drawing and then extruding it or doing some other thing to make it 3D, right? So one of the most important things that you're going to be using is a sketch. So on the top left here, there's the create sketch button. It'll basically allow you to make a drawing of what you want to make, and then you can do cool things to it. So I'm just going to create a sketch right here. And then it'll allow you to click a plane. So because you're working in a 3D environment, you basically have to choose the orientation on which you're drawing it from. So these planes came up, these orange squares. I'm just going to click on this bottom one, and then it'll kind of fly into the view. If you ever like move away from it, or you can't like find where you are in the orientation, you can use the view cube and it will like tell you where you are. Like let's say I was over here and I want to be on like that top plane, I can just click on it and then it'll go there. But yeah, so for the first one, I'm just going to be making this red cube here. So over here, you see all the menu has changed and we have a bunch of different sketching tools. So this will allow us to create our different profiles to create our parts. In this case, I just want to create a rectangle and then yeah, we're going to go from there. So I'm going to click rectangle. What I like to do is I always like to start on the origin. So you see this little like circle in the center. I always start on the origin because it creates like a defined point where you're building your sketch off of. If you don't do it, then your sketch will just kind of float in midair and it can get kind of confusing with constraints, but we're going to be going into that later. Yeah, to make a rectangle, you just click it, drag it, and then it makes a rectangle. Super cool. To add dimensions, you click the sketch dimension tool, which is right over here. So here I'm going to click this line, and let's say I'm going to make it like 100 millimeters, right? And I can do it for this one as well. So I'm going to make this 100, and boom, now we have a square. Is everyone good? Yeah. Okay, cool. Once we're happy with our sketch, there's this finish sketch button. I'm happy with this because everything is, all the lines are black. So what that means is that all the geometries in the sketch is fully defined. If you see, like if I delete this 100, it makes like this line blue. And if it's blue, it means it's undefined, right? So I can like drag this around and it's not rigid. So it's good practice to make sure all of the things are defined. So I'm going to add this back in, and now everything is black. So if I try to like drag this around, it doesn't move, which is again why I highly encourage you to use the origin, because it makes things easier. But yeah, once this is finished, you just press finish sketch, and now you have this 2D square. Good, everyone? Oh, yeah, so, okay, cool, Cole's gone. Awesome. Okay, so once we have our square, we want to make it into a cube. So to do that, we're going to extrude it. So right next to the sketch tool is this extrude button. We're just going to click on it, and then we're going to click on the square, and then we're going to specify the distance. So I made the two lengths 100. So if I make this 100, then it will create a cube. So it gives you a nice preview, and then you just press OK. Now we have a nice cube on our little workspace. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah? All right. So now that you know how to do that, I'm just going to make a cylinder. You can follow along. If you already know what you're doing, that's great. So yeah, I'm just going to create another sketch. I'm going to make a circle, and just so it doesn't overlap, I'm just going to move it away from the origin. I'm going to add dimensions. So here, I'm adding, let's make this like 150. And make this like 78 because I feel I'm gonna make this distance like 45 or 54. And yeah, okay, so I have a fully defined sketch. I'm gonna finish it up here. I'm gonna extrude it. I'm gonna make this 200. Right, yay. Everyone good up to this point? Awesome. Okay. So now I'm just gonna create this last bridge piece. I'm gonna create another sketch. Actually, I don't want it to be on that. And okay, so the little trick that you can use when creating more advanced like geometries is you can simplify the shape and then add the complexity later. So the way I see this little bridge piece is it's a rectangle and then like a circle cut out, right? So I'm just gonna start by making a rectangle and putting a circle on top of it and then cutting away the excess. So what you can do, I'm just gonna create a rectangle over here. I'm going to add dimensions to define it.
Even though it's not really like necessary right now for you guys to make the dimensions, because like once we extrude it, you can't see the dimensions. So like we're not going to know what you're going to do now. I mean, that's good practice. Like later on, if you're actually applying these, you have like multiple components that are relying on each other. Then if you have something that's underdefined and you change like one value, it can delete like the entire assembly that you have. So it's just good practice to get into the habit of making sure all the lines are fully defined in your sketch.
So you can see here I have like a little block, or I have the rectangle and an overlapping circle, but you see there's a bunch of like extra lines, right? So what you can do is you can use the trim tool. So the scissors up here, you can just click that, and then I can click on the lines I don't want. So I don't want this one, and I don't want this center line over here. Yeah. And then you can see that when I trim stuff, sometimes it will take some of the constraints away. So that circle used to be black, but now it's not fully defined uh, because I can move it from side to side. So we have to fix that. So I'm going to add a dimension here. And now it's fully defined. So I'm just going to finish the sketch. I'm going to extrude it again. And now I have 3 wonderful blocks. To move them? Well, I fully define them, so the way I would move them is by just changing the distances in the sketches. But we're going to be doing assemblies later, which is a bit more advanced. But right now, I'm just teaching you the basics of just like the sketching tools. So moving it isn't super convenient. But when you do like parts and assemblies, which we're going to be doing, I believe, week 3. Yeah, week 3. That's when you're going to be able to move things more easily. If that makes sense. Is everyone good up to this point? Yeah, awesome. Okay. The one thing that we haven't done for this assignment yet is adding color. So to do that, we're going to go under this tab. You can see the different bodies. You can right click each body and then select appearances. So over here, it's going to open this menu on the side and it'll allow you to choose different appearances. There's like a really large host of appearances. I recommend that you don't use like a gray color because when I'm grading it and it looks gray, I'm just going to think you forgot to put color in. So please choose something bright so I know that you did colors or just added appearances, if that makes sense. So in this case, I'm just going to add some like glossy paint. Let's just make this blue. See, I'm just dragging it onto the bodies. And yeah, that's how you do it. So yeah, this is assignment 1. So if you were following along, you can just take a screenshot of this and submit it when I open the submission form, and you should get 100%. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions on the first assignment? No? All right, cool. To save your file, you just hit Control or Command S, or this little save thing on the top left. Allow you to save it. So yeah, and then it'll save it to like your Fusion team that you just created. So it'll be in your Google Drive basically, or your Fusion Drive. And if you open Fusion on another computer, you will have access to all your stuff, which is cool. Yeah. For the next assignment, we're going to be making this Purdue hammer. It's going to be pretty fun. We're going to be making multiple extrusions on top of each other. So over here, I'm going to hit the new design, and then it makes a blank canvas, right? Again, I want to make sketches, so I'm going to click a sketch, click this, and then I'm going to start by making the cylinder, right? So starting at the origin, reaching out, and make this 100 again. Finish the sketch, hit extrude. I'm going to make this pretty long, let's say like 500, maybe even more. Okay. So now I have this sketch right here. I want to make this hammer part of the hammer, right? And there's many ways you can go about doing this. I'm just going to show you the way I do it. But there's no like wrong way to CAD. Um, so if you do it differently than me, that's fine. But yeah, I'm just gonna do it this way. There's like many different ways of CADing. You'll start to see when you make things, but generally I like to keep the number of operations to a minimum. So on the bottom, you can see kind of like a timeline of all the things you've done, right? So here is like a sketch, and here's like an extrude, and that's just kind of like one operation to me. Um, so to make the hammer, I'm just gonna do another operation. Um, but then you see there's like this thing, the cylinder like extends on the top. So what you could do is you could make the rectangle or the rectangular prism and then add a cylinder on top, but you could also make the prism inside the cylinder. So that like reduces the number of operations and makes it like more efficient, if that makes sense. Um, Generally, I like using less features just because it makes it easier to edit later. But that is entirely up to you. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna create a rectangle, and then you can choose. You don't have to choose the origin planes. You can choose like different faces. So I'm gonna be clicking on the cylinder up here, and then it'll allow me to make a sketch on top of it. So over here, I want to make a rectangle, but I want it to be centered on the circle. So if you go over here, you can see there's a bunch of different sketch tools. So over here is the rectangle function, and there's the center rectangle. So I'm going to be using this one. Again, you don't have to do it this way, but this is just the way I like to do it. So center rectangle, extending the rectangle. I'm going to add dimensions. So let's do okay. So I have this rectangle here. I'm going to finish the sketch. And you see the sketch isn't on the origin anymore. It's just on top of the cylinder. But now I'm going to extrude it. So if I add the extrusion right now, you can see that it's making an extrusion like on top of the cylinder, but I can change that. So over here where it says start, it's basically saying where do you want the extrusion to start from. So normally it goes from the profile plane, which is where you made the sketch. But if you want to change that, you can add an offset, or you can do it from an object. So I'm just going to add an offset, maybe like -30, and you can see that it like shifted downwards. I'll change the distance to -100, and then now you can see that's kind of the idea that we're going for. Fusion will like try to assume things that you're trying to do. So in this case, it thinks I'm trying to cut this rectangular prism out of the cylinder. So if I press OK, it's just going to disappear. It's just going to cut the cylinder out, but that's not what we want. So you go back on your timeline on the bottom, you can right click it and you can edit it. So the cool thing about CAD is you can always go back and edit features that you made already. So the more you CAD, the more you'll understand that if you make it really easy to change, it's really nice. Using fully defined features and stuff like that will make it easy to edit and things won't break later. But over here, the operation is automatically set to cut in this case, but you can change it, right? So in this case, I want to join it. So if I select join, what it will do is it'll combine the cylinder and the prism. So when I do that, I press OK. Now I have a nice hammerhead inside the cylinder. But now that I'm looking at it, these corners look really sharp, right? And I don't want them to be sharp in this case, so I'm gonna round all the corners. So what you can do, you can use the fillet tool. So I'm going to click on it, and then you can select edges, right? So I'm going to select all these edges. I can rotate around, select some more edges, and then I can set the size of the fillet. So let's select 10. So now you can see in this preview, all the corners are rounded. Let's say I want it more rounded. I can change it, maybe 20. Now it's even more rounded. I'm going to press OK. And now we have a hammer with rounded corners. Just like that. Does anyone have any questions about this? I'm just going to walk around the room. I know I'm going fast. So, am I going too fast? Okay, I'll slow down.
I'm sorry, I'm ready to go.
I got it. Okay, so now that most of you done with the hammer, I'm gonna move on to the last assignment of the day. So we're gonna be making this like pawn for like a game, or like I don't know, any other game. I don't know, Monopoly or something. Yeah. So instead of extruding, we're gonna be doing something called a revolve, and it's basically gonna take our sketch, and then instead of extruding it in one direction, it's gonna extrude it in like a circle. If that makes sense. Or yeah, you'll see in a second. So right now, our goal is to create a sketch kind of like this, and you see it's only like half a chess piece, right? It's just like a cut profile, and then we're gonna use the revolve tool and make something nice. So over here, I'm gonna create a new design, blank canvas, and I'm gonna start again by making a sketch here. So top left, making a sketch. And then instead of selecting this top plane, I'm just going to select one of the ones over here. So I'm going to select that one. And then now I'm going to start drawing the chess piece. So again, I'm starting from the origin, making a couple lines like this. I'm going to make a nice vertical line as well. And then you can see right here, there's like this arc. So I'm going to go under this create drop down, and I'm going to select arc. In this case, I might try the 3-point arc. So how that works is I choose 2 points, and then I can create like the radius of the arc. So I'm just gonna put it over here for now, and then I'm gonna create a nice vertical line like that. And then to make the little round feature on top, I'm just going to add a circle. So you see this has like a general shape of what we're after. Now that I've drawn it, now we can go out and modify it to make it exactly how we want. So for starters, I'm going to be using the trim tool to cut this circle in half, but if I try to cut it right now, it's just going to cut most of it away, and we don't want that. So we're going to add a line that separates this circle in half. I'm also going to make this a construction line. I'm going to go into construction lines a little bit more next week, but this is a good example of when you want to use one. So a construction line is basically a line that the CAD software is not going to recognize when you go to create like a feature. So you can tell it's a construction line when it's dashed. So over here, I'm going to make it construction, and you see it's a dashed line. Another way to tell if something's like a construction line is when I make it a normal line, you can see it highlights this whole area, and that shows that Fusion is recognizing this thing as like a closed shape. So you can see like if you follow this line, it's like continuous and it's like completely enclosed. So it'll let you extrude it or revolve it or do whatever you want. But when I change this to construction, that like blue highlight goes away. So it shows that this isn't like a closed feature. In this case, that's okay because we're going to make it closed in a little bit. So I have this construction line, but now I'm going to make a regular line. So I'm going to make a normal line going from the bottom all the way to the top of the circle. So like that. And now you can see this blue area is highlighted again. But now you see this, there's still half a circle that I want to cut away. So I'm going to use the trim tool up here. I'm going to click on here, and now that's gone. I'm also going to click on here. So you see now this profile is all one closed loop. That's nice, we like that. Now we can manipulate it to look however we like. So I'm just going to drag this point around like that. I'm going to just make this tangent. This is another thing that we're going to go over next week, but a geometric constraint is basically like using the dimension tool, but for other things. So I want this line to be tangent to the circle, so I'm going to click this here, and it's going to make it nice and smooth. But don't worry if that doesn't make sense. We're going to be going over this next week. But yeah, so now I have like this general shape of the piece that I want. I'm going to move this a little bit. Okay. Does this make sense to everyone? Do you have like this like cutout of the pawn or the chess piece that you're making? Yeah. Yeah. The bottom? Okay. So there's many ways you could go about doing it. I used an arc. So if you go under the create drop down, there's this arc tool, and then I used a 3-point arc. So when I clicked on it, I selected like this like end of the line. Wait, I'll just make one. The 3-point arc, you just choose a starting point and ending point, and then when you start moving your mouse, it'll give you like a curve or the arc, right? And then when you click again, then it creates that arc. Yeah. Is anyone having trouble with this? Yeah. You just want to shoot. So now that all of you have this profile, what you can do is finish the sketch first, right? So we're happy with this, how this looks. And then over here, instead of the extrude button, right next to it is the revolve button. So you can see if you highlight over the different tools, it'll usually tell you what it does. So you can see it gives you this example of it has like this squiggly line thing, and then it revolves, and then it creates that fun round object. Yeah. I'm going to click revolve. It automatically selected it, so it's nice and blue. It knows that I want to revolve this. And then you have to choose the axis. So you're choosing the axis of rotation and where the revolve is going to center around. So I'm going to click this line right here, and you can see it's giving me a preview of this chess piece. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. Also, just like so you know, like if you choose the wrong axis, you'll get like a completely different part. So like if I chose this one, now it looks like super weird. So yeah, you can revolve it around any axis, but you should revolve it around this one in this case. But yeah, now I have this nice chess piece. I'm going to create the text on the bottom. So I'm going to create another sketch, and then I'm going to click the bottom face of this chess piece. And then now I'm going to add text. So I believe if you go under create, there's this text tool. And then I'm just going to click on the bottom. And then I'm going to write stuff. Hello. So now I have this text on the bottom. I like it. I'm just going to move it around. I'm just going to center it. I'm going to finish it. And then to imprint it onto the chess piece, I'm going to create an extrusion. And then let's say I'm going to do like 3 millimeters, right? And if I rotate it, you see it's sticking out, which is not what we want in this case. So instead of +3, I'm going to set it to -3, and then now it's going to go into the chess piece. And you see how Fusion before, when it was +3, the operation was set to join, but when I set it to negative, it sets it to cut. And that's just kind of what Fusion does. It'll try to predict what you're doing, which is nice. Um, so I like that it's going to cut these words out. I'm going to press OK. And now I have text on the bottom. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. So that is the final assignment I'm going to be doing here in class today. Your homework assignment for this week is to create a chair. You know, you can basically be creative and make any wonky shape you like, as long as it has, like 4 legs, cushion, and stuff like that. But yeah, feel free to go crazy, make a chair. But yeah, I'm just gonna be hanging out, making sure everyone's good. But if you feel like you're good for this week, you're all feel free to leave. Yeah, I'll see you next week. For homeworks, just take screenshots of your assignments. For future reference, I'm gonna ask you to make sure you screenshot the whole Fusion window, mainly because I want to see the timeline on the bottom. So for future assignments, the timeline is going to be a little bit important. So yeah, I think on the rubric it says like after week 2, if you don't have the timeline in the photo, you get dock points. So please make sure you have the timeline there so I can read it and grade it correctly, or else you'll lose points. But yeah, other than that, that's basically week 1. I'm just gonna walk around the room, see if anyone needs help. Yeah, thank you for coming, and I'll see you next week.